Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing dhar2603 in the 15-minute pool on ICC. So we have a high-rated player this time. He's a little bit higher rated than me in the 15-minute pool. Granted, I haven't played that many games, but surely this guy is a good player, judging by his rating. So, 2202, his highest rating was 2228, achieved just yesterday, actually. Strong positives. Ooh, I mouse slipped. Was totally trying to play e4. Okay, well, that derails my plans. Alright, I guess I'm going to play g3 and try to fianchetto this bishop. Yeah, I was totally trying to play e4 and just dropped the pawn a little bit too early. So now when we're in pretty unusual territory, I suppose, I'll try to make the best of this. So since I've locked my own bishop in, I'll probably be looking to play b4 and put the bishop on b2 later. I'll play my knight to e2 just so it doesn't obstruct my bishop on g2. Sometimes you have to improvise in chess. If anything, I'm not going to be repeating lines that I've played before on this channel, so you guys will have a unique take on the opening. Bishop g4, that's interesting. So he might be trying to play queen d7 and then like a bishop h3 move, provided I castle. He might be looking to do that. I think I just like h3. Let's put the question to his bishop. So he's gladly trading off his bishop pair. Now which way to take, with my knight or with my queen? Both moves have merit. I really thought his idea was bishop f5. So putting the bishop back there and kind of arguing that h3 was more of a weakening move than anything else. Surprising, though. All right, let's just take with the knight. This reinforces d4 very well. I'm not unhappy with the result of the opening here. Maybe I'll have to start playing e3 more often. But okay, I can play d5. I can take on c6 too. He takes back, then I take on e5, and then I trade queens. That would lead to an interesting endgame. I don't think I'm that much better in that endgame, but I might keep that option in mind. d5. He might advance e4 on the next move if I don't do something. I think I could take on c6 and have a slight endgame advantage. Nothing major. But let's castle instead. We'll keep that option in our back pocket if we want it. But I expect him to either take on d4 or play e4. Plays knight d7. Okay. So he's freeing up his f-pawn. He's also applying a little bit more pressure to d4. Play rook b1. With an eye towards playing b4, b5. Yeah, this resembles the English now more than anything else. You can barely tell this came from a King's Indian. He can play a5, but then I'll play a3 and get ready to play b4 on the coming move. Yeah, I'm very satisfied with this position. If he captures on d4, I'll probably take with my pawn. And let's say he plays like a rook e8 type move. I'll probably go b4, and then if he puts two major pieces on the e-file to attack my knight, I might just play bishop e3, is what I'm thinking. Knight takes is also somewhat tempting, but let's play pawn takes. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, and this bishop will go to e3. Might be good to block the e-file, because he has the jump on me on the e-file if he wants it right now, by playing rook e8 or queen e7. One thing I was just talking to a student about the other day, in a lot of openings, I feel like lower-rated players commit their queenside bishop too early. So you notice this move 12, I haven't moved my dark square bishop yet. I don't want to generalize too much, but I really do feel that lower-rated players try to move the dark square bishop too early, and they try to find a post for it. They almost try to like force it somewhere. Here, e3 is like a natural square to defend the d-pawn and block the e-file a little bit. So I'm leaning towards that, but I'm thinking about playing b4 as well. I think starting with bishop e3 makes more sense. We'll be flexible. b4 is more committal, so bishop e3 I feel like might be a necessary move, so I might as well play it. It also frees my knight if I want to move my knight somewhere. Yeah, knight b6, I was wondering if he could do that. So that way, he's discouraging me from playing b4 by attacking this. Queen d3 seems like a normal move. If queen d3, I wonder if he can play d5, however. So let's just go b3. Now I won't be able to play b4 is the only downside of this, at least for the foreseeable future. But maybe I can go d5 soon, grab space and kick his knight away. I do like keeping this diagonal open, though, for my light square bishop. If I put a pawn here, it diminishes this influence. This position reminds me of like an Alekhine's defense, kind of, just the way he has his knight's positions on c6 and b6. And the possibility of him playing d5. I'm curious what plan he'll come up with here. For the moment, I'll be content to just play queen d2 on the next move, connect my rooks together, defend my bishop. I would suspect he's looking at queen moves mainly, like queen d7 or queen e7 or queen f6 to connect his rooks together. a5 would be an interesting move too. Staking out queenside space with the plan of pushing a4 and trying to attack my pawn structure. Time-wise, we're doing well. Built up a small time advantage, minute and a half. Alright, so he plays knight e7. That is a move I was thinking he might try. However, I can take on b7. It's kind of weird that he did that. He's trying to get to f5. That much is clear. But I think he's just hanging that pawn in the process. Yeah, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to take it. Because I really doubt that knight f5 or anything is going to do me too much damage. Now I can go to f3. f3 is interesting. Retreating my bishop. Just so that if knight f5 happens, I can comfortably like move this bishop without fearing about my knight behind it. I don't know though. G2 seems like the standard move. Yeah, I don't know that I should go to f3. Oh, I can also play bishop e4, although bishop e4 d5 might be his intended response. I'm just going to go back to g2. Bishop's less exposed here and defends the h3 pawn. And if he does that, I'm thinking about queen d3 now. Saying, go ahead, take my dark square bishop. Because I get to take back with the pawn and it's protected. But then again, I don't know. Yeah, let's do queen d3. I don't see anything wrong with it. Pre-move that recapture. I'd like to get this rook that is no longer really doing much on the b file over to e1. And then I can move my knight away and I'll have better protection of the e3 square. Whether my bishop's there or whether a pawn ends up on that square. I'm looking at ways that after he takes on e3, and I take with my f-pawn, that he can go about attacking that pawn. This is one line I was thinking about too. So now he's threatening to take on e3, but I might be able to play this rook ae1 move, so that if he does take, I can move my knight. And I think I'll be getting good play. Although, ooh, he can get two rooks maybe for it. Not if I play rook fe1 though. If I play rook be1, he can take on e3. Let's say I play knight f4. He could then maybe take on f1. I take e7. He takes back. I take on f1. And it's two rooks versus the queen. And I have an extra pawn, so it's even material. But if I play with this rook, he can't do that same sequence, can he? Yeah, he can't. Okay, I'll do this rook to e1. And if he takes, I'll have to figure out where to put my knight. Probably f4. Probably f4. Just hope I haven't miscalculated anything. I don't think I have. So I'll do it. He's pinned, so that reduces what he has available. And I'm just threatening to win back the knight. I didn't want to take it last move because he could take on e3 with check and he'll win a pawn back. So knight f4 is a move designed to attempt to keep my pawn advantage. If he plays queen f6, getting out of the pin and setting up a queen bishop battery, I can take with my pawn and I defend d4. g3 is a little bit weak throughout this entire thing, but I don't see a way he can exploit that. I was checking to see whether if he could play something wacky like knight b takes c4. I don't think it works. I think I just take back with my b pawn. He takes b1. I can even just take with a queen. He's still pinned. That's like a mortal pin. You see the value of lining up your rooks with your opponent's queen or king. So if that happens, the developments on the file will often be favorable to you because that's such a high price they have to pay to deal with that X-ray. Even if there's pieces in the way, it can become relevant soon. He could play queen g5 here. Queen g5, I would have to take on e3 with a rook. He takes back, I take with my queen. I'm still up a pawn. And I keep d4 defended. He has knight takes c4 in that position, though, at the end. Okay, so queen g5, rook takes e3, rook takes e3. And if queen takes e3, he has knight takes c4. And if I take, he can play rook takes b1. This is a line I'll definitely be showing in the postmortem. Might be a moot point because it looks like he didn't see it. Yeah, so now I want to take this way. Queen g5 might have been good. I wonder if I could have played h4 or something, like an in-between move, but I'm not sure it would have made a difference. So now up a pawn plus a time advantage. I like my chances. Really like my chances. Now he goes queen g5. Okay. Well, now I can defend the g3 pawn. I could play e4. I could play... I'm kind of leaning towards just king h2. Yeah, it's king h2 looks normal. Maybe I can play h4 coming up. Yeah, he missed his opportunity to play queen g5. Rook e7 now. Well, if his rook lands on e8, I can always play bishop c6. There's always that option. Which maybe I should utilize right now, huh? Bishop c6. Yeah, looks pretty good. Let's do it. Just a preemptive strike against rook e8. It also paralyzes his position. Now, if his knight moves like to d7 or c8, I can play knight d5. It's hard for him to move. I'd love to chase this knight away sometime soon. So one idea I have now is to go b4 and then c5 perhaps. Queen h6, what's that move about? Wants to go g5? Seems a little weird. Wants to activate his bishop maybe? I'll just go here. And if g5, I'll play knight g2. And if g4, h4 then. Or knight h4 maybe. No, that can't be good for him. If he plays g5, he's weakening the f5 square quite a bit. I like rook e2 because now I can get this rook over to f1 maybe. And I never had to compromise my defensive e3 by doing that. Like if I had played rook f1, then the e3 is temporarily weakened. If I had played rook f1 and then rook b to e1, but now I can just swing the rook over to f1. He's under 5 minutes now. Yeah, he lashes out g5. I'll just play this move kind of fast. He can play queen g6 to offer a trade, but I should be pretty happy with trade still. I mean, he might want to. My queen is a strong piece here. It's centralized. It's defending c4 and e3. His queen is sidelined. So I think the relative value of the queen is not in his favor. If queen g6, I might even play e4 and decline the trade. Because I want to get my knight to that f5 square now. I'll be looking at ways I can direct it there. So if I play e4, I have in mind the plan of going knight e3 to f5. Plant that gorgeous knight on that square. Or put the average knight on that gorgeous square. Is probably what I'm saying. Have to make sure he doesn't like hit me with a sly d5 move, which would open up the queen to attack the bishop on c6. I think I really like e4 here. I approve of this move. Yeah. Just trying to swing the knight up to f5. No queen trade. So that's an example of a position where if I was just blindly following the advice, trade when you're ahead in material, I would have played queen takes g6, but I think it's better to do this move. I think my advantage is greater this way. Yep, attacks the d pawn. Now maybe I can go knight e3, and if he takes, I trade and then play knight f5. Yeah, that's pretty good. I could also just play rook d1, keep it simple. But this move is so direct. Yeah, this is so direct and good. If he goes queen f3, I have rook f1. So I'm saying here, go ahead, take my d-pawn. I'll just swap and then play knight f5. And you have a fork you're going to be dropping in exchange. Because he'd have to play bishop f6 then, and then I can take, and probably play e5 after that. Should be winning. Maybe not e5. I have to watch out for c4, but yeah, I should be winning. Just making sure I don't want to insert some move first. No, I think just beg the material. So he is threatening knight takes c4 now. I have to keep that in mind. So e5, I was initially optimistic about e5, but I'll just go here. Yeah, he's trying to build like a fortress. Let's swing this rook up. Maybe I can get it over to a5. He can't defend that pawn. Not for very long anyways. Because if knight c8, I have bishop to d7. I mean, he can go back to b6 now. This position's really, really ugly, though. Down material, under pressure. I mean, he's got to play knight b6 now. The only issue is if I move my bishop like to e6 or something, he has rook a8. But I think I see a good way to play. Let's go here. Yeah, I'm going to play bishop e6, and then if he plays rook b7 or rook a8, I'll play bishop d5. Attacking the rook in the corner, trying to compel him to take me. Now, which way to take? Both ways are probably good. E-pawn takes, hit the bishop. But this rook is a little out of play. I think I like e-pawn takes, though. This rook is not really trapped ever. It's perfectly fine where it's at. I'll go here, just to make sure he can't play pawn to a6. I want to go g4 now. Just stop his pawn breaks. I have a lot of spare time on my hands now. I'll play king g2. I can almost like march my king all the way up to f5. That's kind of cool. But playing something like b4 makes more sense. And I get this pawn up to b5, and then I've enabled like rook e3 to a3. Let's just do that. I mean, I could also play a4, a5, and then eventual b6, but I'll just do this. It seems safer. Swing this over. Yeah, and he resigned. Okay, so I go up to 22-43 after this game. Let's have a quick look. So e3, my brilliant preparation. More like my unfortunate mouse slip that I had to make the best of. So this kind of reminds me of like a certain setup in the Trompowsky opening, actually, where white usually will have the bishop outside the chain, as normal in a Trompowsky, and take on f6, and then set up the pawns like this. And fianchetto the bishop. It's not too bad. I mean, the only bad piece I have now is this dark square bishop. I was sort of confused why he would want to just give up the light square bishop without a fight. Because, you know, you guys watching these videos, you should prefer bishops over knights, just very generically. Like, you shouldn't just assume that a bishop is equal to a knight in every position, or that a knight is equal to a bishop. Whatever. They're not. They're not created equally. In fact, when they program engines, they usually weight the bishops like slightly more than the knights, as far as I understand it. So like a knight might be 3 points and a bishop might be 3.25. I know that's not the actual values, but over the course of many, many games, and they can track this with databases and such, it has been shown that bishops are slightly stronger than knights. But of course, as everything in chess, it depends on the position. But here, I don't really see a good reason for him to just give me the light square bishop. Now my light square bishop is unopposed for the rest of the game. So, yeah, and I played it in English fashion. You know, I have a nice pawn center here, and I'm looking to expand even further with b4, b5, which would unleash my bishop, hopefully attack b7 down the line. I think this moment after b3 was kind of a turning point because, yeah, knight e7 was a clear mistake, I believe. Maybe he should play this a5 move I was talking about. Just keep the knight here. I don't know why. I don't know if he missed bishop takes b7 or just thought he'd get compensation. But he needs to play a little more on the flank, or maybe play a move like queen d7 or queen e7. a5 is a useful move because it clamps down on b4, and also he has the option of trying to undermine my pawns with a4. Because remember, I need this pawn on b3 to defend c4. So if he's able to play a4, you know, my pawn construction here is kind of creaking a little bit. Let's just see what the computer likes in this position. d5, yeah, d5 is another move he can play. This is also a theme in the Alekhine's defense, which I said Black's knight setup reminded me of. But yeah, I would grab space. I'd play this, and let's say he goes here. I'd think about playing something like g4. Try to roll him with my pawns on the queen side. And he has a compact position, but when you lack the bishop pair, you can only defend a compact position for so long, oftentimes. So white is clearly better at this point. Turn this engine off. So here I took... Yeah, and I'm not sure which way I should have retreated my bishop, to f3 or g2. Let's see what the computer thinks. Okay, it actually slightly prefers f3. Bishop f3, knight f5, bishop f4. What if he plays g5? Because I saw an idea, like if g5... I don't want to go bishop d2, because then he can take on d4. My queen would not be participating in the defense of that pawn. So bishop c1, I thought maybe he could do this. But I guess this backfires because I have queen c2 or queen d3 attacking the knights. Loose pieces. You know, undefended pieces. And I assume you guys see the purpose of knight takes c4. So I can't take back because he would play rook takes rook. My b pawn is pinned. But yeah, I didn't see this queen c2 move. Because I was wondering about the analogous line in the game. So if I turn off the engine again. After I chose bishop g2 and he went here, if I played bishop f4, pawn g5, and then bishop back to c1 now. But I guess it works the same way. Take, and I would have queen c2 or queen d3. Yeah, and double attack. So that's actually why, if I had seen that line, I would have played bishop f4. But that's actually why I played this move. Let's just see what the computer thinks about that decision. Yeah, it says it's okay. It says I can get away with queen d3. Oh, it actually says the best move in this position. Okay. Queen d3, he went here. Yeah, rook fe1. And the problem with rook be1, like I was saying, is that I thought maybe he could do this. And then after I go here, intending to take the knight back, maybe take here. And I wasn't sure about this position. I thought he might have decent play, although the engine still seems to think white is better. It is equal material. I have a queen and pawn, and he has 2 rooks. Probably the engine thinks white's better here because my minor pieces have better prospects. If this knight ever gets kicked out of the b6 square, knight d5 could cause him a lot of trouble. And it's not quite open enough for his rooks to have much say in the position. So I can understand why it likes white. But rook fe1 is probably cleaner anyways. Take. Yep, play knight f4. Okay, let's check this line. If he had played queen g5, so if he had done this move, Now, I can't take with the f-pawn because he would take on g3. So I was thinking this, but then if he takes and queen takes, there's this knight takes c4 move once again. This rears its ugly head once more. And I can't take because the b-pawn is pinned. He takes my rook. However, and I'll turn the engine on a second to verify, I think I can probably play like queen c3 or queen c1, let's say, and attack the knight, and then maybe go win his c7 pawn once he addresses the threat on the knight, like by playing this. So maybe just come down here and take, and it's very possible white's just winning here, like rook c8 and like take this. So that might be the refutation of it, but I did see this line in the game, and I was going to look at it further, but he had already moved. I probably should have seen that in advance. Knight takes c4, yeah, queen c1. Yeah, the engine still thinks this is good for white. But I wish I would have seen that move when I was making the decision whether to play rook fe1, because that is like a line. It's a pretty forcing line. And it looks like maybe he should have tried it at least. It might have been better. Oh, and it seems like I can play f4 too. Yeah, I was thinking about this is this h4 move rather, not f4. This is like an in-between move I could try to knock the queen off balance before recapturing. But I bet I would have just played the standard move, rook takes e3. Okay. Yeah, and I think the rest of it, after this, take king h2, just defending my g3 pawn. I want all my loose points defended. I like this move, bishop c6. Yeah, he really started floundering for a plan right now. Queen g6. And as I was saying, you know, if I was just playing strictly under the pretenses of I'm up a pawn, exchanges are good for me, I would have taken on g6, but that creates certain problems. I mean, he gets to improve his pawn structure slightly, like these pawns are more compact now. The f5 square is not weakened anymore. He's also threatening knight takes c4 and bishop takes d4. So I'd have to do something about those threats, like, yeah, rook c2, or maybe rook d1 is also a good move. But I can just play e4 and fast-track my knight here and here, so that looks fantastic for me. Yeah, his position's not good. It's just losing. Knight e3, no reason to delay. Yeah, and I get my knight in to fork his bishop and rook. And I got to avoid some tricks. Like, originally I was intending to open the position like that, but he still has that tactic. So I think it's good that I move my rook. And once and for all, address the knight takes c4 threat. And then it was a matter of converting my material advantage, attacking his weaknesses. And you can see I was probing him. I didn't have to use the rook on e2 yet. I was first able to trade his knight. I think his knight's like the only piece that might be a problem for me. So take, his bishop is very poor. His rook is tied down to the a-pawn. I was maybe playing a little cautiously here. I think he should have played f5 when I played rook a6, just to give himself a little more space. It wouldn't have mattered as far as the result goes, but it's a little more testing. Yeah, now it's just choosing between good plans. Like, I was thinking about running my king up, like trying to get even all the way in here if I could. But this b4 plan is so simple and straightforward. It's just, you know, I should just play it and forget about it because I have that idea. I also have the idea of pushing b5 and a4, a5, and then eventually b6. So it's all focused on his weak a pawn and the rook behind it. Yeah, and he resigned. All right, so a mouse slip on move 4 turns out better than I could have expected. So interesting game in this one. I'm now a 15-minute master, if you call a 2200 a master in this pool. So thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one, and please feel free to leave me any feedback in the comments. Talk to you later.